Good evening, Dr. Peter.
I'm good, Nedefeko. How are you and all the co-owners?
I'm fine, and you, Daddy?
I'm great.
It's a cold evening today.
Yes, Nade, very cold.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think we have any announcements for today.
Yes.
And any updates. So I think you can just go ahead.
Okay, Nade, maybe if you can open so that I can share.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Nedefeko. That's great. All right. All right. Thank you so much, co-owners, everyone who's watching. I do understand that we also have non-co-owners who actually have participated in purchasing Weownomy. That's great news to really see that we have also a bigger number of other different traders involved in our own coin. But again, today is very specific, as I shared with you in the groups and my earlier audio, just to let you know that indeed there's something really challenging in the crypto markets. All the assets have been severely having a great deal of problems. And this is something that we actually saw coming, and it has been happening in different cycles. And when it really troubled us with Weownomy, we remember Weownomy at one time is at $1, and then it went to $50. I think at around 70, 60 to 50, then it went down for a number of different reasons, speculation. And again, most of our members are very new in the crypto industry. And just to really make it very clearly, it's very important that our people understand that the business that we all have an obligation to build it. It's not only the CEO, but as well everyone who is part of the project really needs to make sure that as the project becomes successful, you have something that you'll be able to be remembered for. It's not only the CEO who has to be remembered, as many of you think, but again, all the unity is very important for everyone to participate in. And what truly means with many different communities, they always come together and make sure that they understand the dynamics of their business. They understand, in particular in the crypto industries, what it means to make sure that their crypto coin, entirely, people cannot even believe it. I've never even cashed out even one Weownomy, okay? Including even X-Wield, because I'm a builder. And so I would like to see the whole community grow. I would like to see what we build grow. But again, during the course of this building, there's so many challenges that comes through, and a lot of people, because of their different orientation, they find it very challenging. So, and again, not many of us really understand what entrepreneurship is. And so we need to find other different ways to deal with the way the community is behaving. And we are here today with the X-Wield distribution because of one thing. We had a huge distribution of over 7 billion Weownomy, but all of it, unfortunately, most of you actually dumped it in the market for a variety of reasons. But again, you have to understand that if you're doing anything, just like when you build your initiative or project, you have to really look further. Now, today, we're talking again with a very, very challenging time as the whole cryptocurrencies are down, as we know very well, as we can see today with Bitcoin. Bitcoin has truly been hit hard, and as I can show you, just so that most of you have not paid attention to understand what it is. It's now 20,680.90, and that means at any time this could also be suppressed, and so there's a huge problem across the markets that we could wake up when it's around 16,000, or it could even go down to 10,000. And that's a huge kind of a loss of a great deal of funds in trillions of dollars, if not billions of dollars. And what does that show you? That our invention of X-Wield, as we saw the behavior of our coin, we realized that the biggest challenge of all the crypto industry is volatility. And that's why so many people have been wary to participate in the cryptocurrencies because of its up and down. And so many, including the regulators and quite a number of people who have different theories about this wonderful innovation, the cryptocurrencies, they're always pointing on the issue of volatility. But again, with X-Wields, we timely made sure that we come up with a product that can be able to deal with this volatility and can also be able to allow the community to understand that when you want to cash out and 40% of it goes away, then indeed you really need to think so hard what it means. And as I'm very proud to really say that we have achieved a great breakthrough with X-Wields, and that's something that absolutely is going to shake the whole world. I remember very well recently I had bought 15 X-Wields a while ago, but they have appreciated up to 20.82. And as you can see on the screen, with all that is happening in the market, X-Wield is doing amazingly, and we are more than 1,000. We are more than 1,000 addresses. I think 1,000 something. I'm just typing in the chain so that we can be able actually to see how many we are in total. Yeah, we are 1,199 addresses. Congratulations to Weownomers who actually are on the DeFi platform. We took that, and you can see that even below here, 3 hours ago, another one bought 0.1585 X-Wields. 3 hours ago, another one there, and it's going. So as you buy, 4% is distributed to all X-Wield holders, and as you cash out, 40% is still distributed to all X-Wield holders. And as I can tell you, it's doing very well, and I'm very happy with that result. And every quarter, every 3 months, 30% of the price increase is actualized, and we want to do that until the price increase hits $1 million. So that is something historical, and this is a great deal. Now, this is on the DeFi platform, but again, we are talking of something off the DeFi platform. So how do we deal with the centralized exchanges? Now we are talking about the DeFi platform. That's amazing. So this right here, 20.82 is around $5,000. And if I want to cash out all of it, let me say if I put 20, I can be able to get $3,384 US without any volatility. The only thing is that the 40 goes, and that goes back to the people who still hold the X-Wields in the DeFi. So this is great news, very powerful, and this is something that each one of you should be very, very thankful to understand that we have achieved one of the major breakthroughs across the whole crypto industry. And if everyone who ever doubts that Weownomy has not been able to achieve this, tell them to show you any asset out there, including Bitcoin, that can be steady like X-Wield. So, because we also have other stable coins like Tether, USDT, USDC, all of them have a great deal of pressure. We have Terra, USDT, the Luna one, they all crashed recently. And so there are even some few who are also having a great deal of pressure as we speak. But X-Wield is still standing at 282. And everyone who has his assets with us currently is very happy, including myself. And I can tell you, we are now going ahead to make sure that we have something again on the centralized exchange. So that's critically important when I tell you to read, when I tell you to understand the business model. It clearly shows you that absolutely we have achieved a great milestone, not only as a community, but on behalf of all the crypto industry. And this is now bringing us to another phase of the centralized exchange, starting with the private trust exchange. And I did mention as well, with again, another important development that's coming up with the token exchange. Now, as you know, in one of my communication, I shared with you 125 million X-Wields, which was already created. And what we have decided to avoid distributing them, you guys went ahead and you filled the form on the X-Wield website. So what is going to happen, the private trust exchange will receive the whole amount as is, but you will only determine what you want, and that is what will be matched against the X bond. So you're going to get a letter confirming first that yes, this is the number that you have decided to sell off, which will be matched with the X bonds, and then the balance will be later on as at your own. And the other thing which I really wanted to explain to you, it's very critical to really understand that this is a one-time offer. That means if I was you, if you times 500 X-Wields times 282, which is 141,000, you would like to divide it for the whole 24 months, because you will be earning the 30% price increase every quarter. So if you sell everything now, you are only going to earn one cycle of the 30% before even the 30% increase comes in. Before X-Wield goes to 366, you will only earn at 282. So if you can spread it every month, and you say every month I would prefer probably to get $14,000, then it becomes much powerful, because as the quota kicks in, you will be benefiting, and that way you will not lose out. But if you get all the money once all, and then you don't think in future, I can assure you, you will have a lot of challenges. So you rather have a $14,000 that you're planning every month, and which is a lot of money, because no one actually gets that money. And that will be easier for you to think about. I've talked about how you can deal with your own budget issues and stuff like that. But again, with that said, we have a very important breakthrough with X-Bond liquidity creation process. And I'll be able to discuss about that today to allow you to understand that important development, which is also critical. Now, again, as we speak, to avoid all the gas fees, we have deemed X-Wield as already distributed to each one of you, provided you can simply confirm on your own Google form with your address, with your amount that you want to sell, and you have made sure that you have signed those different agreements. That is very clear. And again, remember again, those two agreements are very critical, and I will be able to explain. But now for the start, 50,000 members so far. The IT team just told me that only 50,000 members so far who have completed successfully, and that means ongoingly we still need to have 200,000, but it means that the 50,000 members, even those ones who have not completed, you have already received, because you have already signed your X-Wield. If you have signed your X-Wield, you have signed your agreement, count it that you have already received. What is going to remain, you'll have to get, you will get an email confirming what you have confirmed on your Google form, and then another one email which will confirm to you that the X-Bond liquidity process is complete, and then the funds being sent to your respective wallet address, which is the Weownomy Pay. So the board has decided to send 125 million directly, X-Wield directly to the private trust exchange to avoid the gas fees, and we will simply confirm with your Google form for your X-Wield to be matched with your X-Bond liquidity. So what you need to do, again, I would request you to take all the total amount, divide it in 24 months, and know that at least every month you will be able to get that. So after the X-Bond liquidity process is done, make sure. Now, definitely a lot of you have made a great deal of decisions on your own, but as the board, we can also write and confirm that, confirm to the private trust exchange that it will be easier to distribute it on a monthly level. But it depends. When you are happy about that, we're gonna put another Google form which you can confirm that I am happy to receive every month. If you are not happy and you decided that you want to receive it as a one-time, but remember it's a one-time thing, so you shouldn't say that the company did not advise me. So that if you end up misappropriately not using the money in the right way, you shouldn't come back and tell us that, oh, you have this, or you have more X-Wields or what. Please understand, we have made it very clear that we are now in an agreement with you, which you have signed, two agreements. One, the discipline agreement. Two, the cryptocurrency agreement. Three, you have the liberty to decide what you want to cash out. Four, we feel for you that we would like you to at least make sure you spread that amount for 24 months. If you're clever, you can even spread it for 96 months. It's up to you. So don't say that we're not giving you options, and so that you can be able to have that funds for quite a long period of time, and you can do as much as you want to do with it in the ways that I explained to you, deal with your strategic needs, basic needs, and social needs in many ways that I've explained to you. Now, as that is complete, we are going to have the X-Bond. Each one is going to be $1,000 of the private trust exchange. And after that, after you get your email, I want you to listen very well. After you get your email, that's why I always tell you to listen and read 9 times. After you get an email confirming your X-Wield to be sold, it means it has been queued to be matched with the X-Bond. Now, when it's been queued to be matched, you have to wait for another email. So there's no need of you telling us you have delayed or what. We are dealing with millions of money, and you're gonna see with this presentation. So this is not pocket change or money that you get on an ATM that you think you'll just get it tomorrow. You have to wait for the process because it's not you, it's a huge number of people, 250,000 people. So you have to appreciate that this is the first time, and whatever the team is doing with us, we have to be disciplined and understand a company that has been established in 1 year has been able to achieve a great deal with you. One, you've been able to cash out with X-Wield. Tell me any other company you could be able to achieve even a small amount, even 100 rand within a year. You will not see that. This is a young company focused for your personal need, and this is a young company that needs you to understand that it's going to have great prospects, and those great prospects start step by step. Now we have a unique stablecoin which was just established recently, and it's a great deal that it happened. And now we are now taking this stablecoin across to the whole crypto world and across the world, and that means we have great potential. And so after you receive your email, that is the next step to your cash out. You have to wait for the X-bond liquidity process, which you will see being explained today, so that you are informed, okay? So once you are informed, you know, I have now received my X-Wield. Why? The CEO has said, instead of us spending gas fees for you to again send it, we have sent it once, okay, to the private trust exchange. They will simply match your Google form details, and you're gonna get an email that shows you that your order has been picked and it's gonna be matched. Then you have to wait for another email that shows you that finally the X-bond liquidity process was complete. And I'm gonna show you how that process will be done. And that way you are informed. So please, we should not confuse the process with your emotions. The process has to be complete, and that is critical. Okay, that's what is going to happen. And we want you to understand that one critically, that the process is going on successfully. Okay, and that process is the X-bond liquidity process, whereby each bond of $1,000 per bond of the private trust exchange. Now, many people have been thinking, oh, that the CEO owns the private trust exchange. I have different connections all over the world, which I thank God for blessing me, and that I share with you all. And let me show you the private trust exchange, which is highly critical. It is only for $1 million investors. And even the way they configure the website, even when I show you and you try to type it in, it will not show, because it is only when they send you a special link that you go there and confirm that you have $1 million and above. No, not this other thing of what our community is used to, going and creating a lot of noise and stuff like that. So your work is to wait and queue in, follow the process, get the first email, another email which shows that the process has been complete, and then the funds are deposited. So let me just show you what will happen at the private trust exchange. Okay, so like to just give me a minute. All right, just give me a minute as I open the private trust exchange, and then I'll be able to show you so that you can really see that indeed X-Wield is listed, matched with Bitcoin, matched with Ethereum, matched with USDT. Okay. So as it's opening, it's still taking time. And so it's very, very critical for everyone to understand as well that you're very blessed. I take a lot of hours, more than the many hours that you spend in the group, to actually make sure that I labor and provide you all of this important critical information. And one thing that you should understand, that very many wealthy or very many talented people cannot do what you guys are seeing at the moment. But why am I doing that? It's because I believe we African people, we have gone through a lot of challenges. And every time we sabotage ourselves, and we don't think to sit down and say, if I cannot do what the CEO is doing, if I cannot be able to improve and provide something regards what the CEO is doing, but my work is only to sabotage, you're sabotaging your own future, okay? And that is the thing. That's why you see I don't spend time on negativity, because it is gonna take us where we have been many years. So I always like to give people the benefit of doubt, because with time, they will understand the time they spent with their way of thinking and the time I spent focused on them, because the people who really need love are those ones who keep on attacking you, are those ones who really have issues with their own personal nature, because they have a lot of issues with themselves. But again, you allowed it. That's the beautiful part of Weownomy. But after signing the discipline agreement, now there is going to be a clear, strict discipline to make sure that we complete and allow this important project to go through, to help everyone, and anyone who would like to be part of this and make sure that it becomes a success for everyone. And what we have established is to make sure that each one of you becomes a success. All right, so I am gonna show you, so this is now the internal exchange of the private trust exchange. What this means, it's not a public exchange. So what you do here, you click, and then you go to the VIP dashboard. Okay. So you go to the VIP dashboard. You will be patient a bit. It takes a bit of time to open, so that we can now be able to go directly to our assets. So this one is mainly for the $1 million clients and mainly for the institutional investors. And it's totally different from La Token Exchange, okay? So La Token Exchange is mainly a public thing, but now this one is critically for the high net worth wealthy people. So when you come here, you see the VIP, very important people, digital dashboard. Then when you click, you come to the VIP thread, and then it goes on. And then when I click choose, then I can see X-Wield appears how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you click it, let me say, let's say X-Wield and BTC, and then I can say sell this asset. Okay. So most of the people who thought that when you are talking about the private trust exchange and they think that it's not there, I'm telling you, when you're talking with the CEO, it delivers. And so here it shows you the digital assets. It shows I agreed to sell my asset. Remember, if it's with the discount, means around 40% because that's what they take off, and then sell the digital asset, and then amount to sell in coins. If it is like you guys now, if it's 500, and then from there you're able to sell it. Okay, so that is what it is. Okay. Now, with that said, you will see something again here. Okay. You'll see we have the bond desk just below here. So I will be able to talk. So that's where the X bond and stuff will be, okay? And internally. But this is, I do have an account with them. Because I'll be coordinating all the X bonds on your behalf, and they will be using my main account to make sure that everything does well. So I'll be coordinating to make sure all the X bonds are done effectively on your behalf. Okay. So that is important news, and other different assets. If you want to sell with USDT, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and everything. So do we have your attention? Yes, we do have that attention from you people. And so this is critically important that you understand that you are blessed. The only problem that we have with our people, okay, is that you need to understand a great deal of what is being presented to you and take your time, okay? So it's critically important as we go ahead and present this critical thing. Now, I love this important presentation here. It's a very funny picture, but it says the truth. Always choose a permanent solution, not a temporary solution, okay? So it's important. You always choose a permanent solution. What is a permanent solution in our case? X-Wield, okay? If you look at this picture, this gentleman is pointing on the bread and is forgetting the key, the strategic needs. He's pointing on the bread, and this is what has happened with our wheels. People have really, for some funny reasons, messed up, okay? And it's something that people need to understand, that Weownomy wants a permanent solution to poverty-related problems. Weownomy wants a permanent solution to make sure your personal well-being is successful, okay? And Weownomy is a historical project. Whether you want to believe it or not, it is, and it is being accomplished day in, step by step, okay? So today, as we all know very well, that the token exchange did a wonderful job to build the DeFi protocol. Now, because people have been hearing many comments, people are saying, you told us that you cannot be able to produce X-Wield, it's produced automatically, or it's minted automatically. It is minted automatically on the DeFi protocol. On the private trust exchange, it is different. That one, it will be traded just like the same way we've been trading Weowns, but with a different concept of the X-Wield. So that has to be clearly articulated and understood, okay? Once you understand that on the DeFi, you have to pay 4% to buy X-Wields, and then when you cash out 40%, and the 4% and 40% goes back to the X-Wield holders. Of the DeFi, the 40% goes to the X-Bond holders. Okay? So that is the difference, but it helps. And then the 60%, it means when the bond is 1,000 X-Bond, so that bond, the 1,000 is put in to buy equivalent of something like 3 X-Wields, okay? And so many people are gonna buy in big numbers, okay? And that way, we are able to allow as many of you to be able to be matched and cashed out, and then Bitcoin, USDT, or Ethereum, okay? So we are in for a permanent solution, not temporary, okay? And the permanent solution means our strategies are not short-term. Our strategies are long-term, even beyond yourself and your families and your grandchildren. That is what our strategies are. And that's why what we look and see with X-Wield, we are not just looking at a short-term solution for a smaller community to cash out. We are looking at even the bigger ecosystem of the whole crypto industry, which we are now very, very happy. Now, how the X-Bond liquidity creation process will be implemented. Now, again, it's very, very wonderful that we have formed a decentralized bond platform, which will be used to create X-Bonds, and every token will correspond to a specific loan agreement. And the loan agreement is simple. It means one, every token, every X-Bond funds $1,000. Every X-Bond will inject that $1,000 in X-Wields, and they will be able to get 40% every time every X-Wields holder cashes out. And on top of that, they'll be able to get a monthly interest payment. In addition to that, they will also earn from the 30% increase of the stablecoin price every 3 months. So that is how the specific loan agreement is going to be designed, okay? So the 60% is invested in X-Wield token for cash out options with a stabilized 282 per token. So we want to get the same solution that is being implemented on the DeFi. On the DeFi, you pay 4% when you buy, and you pay 40% when you cash out, okay? And then on the private exchange and other different exchanges, the X-Bonds that are created $1,000 each per token per X-Bond, which is injected in the to fund the X-Wield token for cash out options, will make sure that the 40% goes back to be shared by all the bondholders. So the bondholders receive a monthly interest payment, a quarterly repayments of the principal of 30%, and the eventual return of the initial investment plus 10%. Okay, so that is the most critical, important news there. Now, after you have signed, and most of you have signed, and as I've told you that most of you now qualify provided you have that Google form. And what does that mean? It means that the liquidity creation to match the X-Wield sales will be done by the private trust exchange team, which will distribute 125 million X bonds to $1 million investors and institutional investors who will buy the X bond in large numbers. At the same time, we are in discussion for the La Token Exchange, who also have shown interest to list 282 X-Wield linked with the X bond. So what the X bond will be doing. So La Token wants to do it on a smaller level, but on the private trust exchange, it will be done with a higher number of institutional investors. So the fee structure, 40% charge fee for every X-Wield token sale shared between bondholders and the private trust exchange, creates incentives for both parties because the bondholders get their share of revenue before any other type of investors. And again, while the X-Wield holders received his or her 60% share after the X-bond revenue financing, that stabilizes the coin at every time 282 per token, and depends on how many tokens you are selling. So that means both incentives for both holders and X-bond investors, not only to promote the X-Wields within their own network, but also bring liquidity into X-Wield's marketplace, which benefits everyone involved. Okay, so this is very powerful. Now, again, as you know, for many of you, because we have only 50,000 members, but we have made it very clear, instead of sending the X-Wields to each one of you, we have sent it directly to the private trust exchange. We only need your confirmation from your Google forms that are filled in so that you can automatically be able to receive that amount back to you in terms of your official payment. Why is that done? One, the confirmation already, you have the agreement, that means you have that. Number two, because of gas fees, most of you will not be able to match that, so wouldn't want a gift to become a burden to you. So what you need to know is, once you receive an email confirming that your number of X-Wield that you've selected for matching and for selling, and we approve that, just know that already confirms that you definitely have received your X-Wields, and the only thing is that that number that you have said will be matched with the X-bond liquidity creation process at the private trust exchange. And so that's very, very important that we need you to understand, okay? So it's critical that this is the whole process that needs to be followed, and it needs to be followed because the number of X-Wields being sold is 125 million X-Wields. And at the same time, you're going to see when you deal with big funds, you need to be extra careful in terms of the compliance with different regulations and how we're going to do it very successful. So that is something very, very, very powerful, okay? So now, this is a very important breakthrough. One, we have been able to get a decentralized bond platform in European Union, which is going to create 125 million X bonds. So that means the time frame of creating X bond is not going to be an issue. And so that one with the private trust exchange, that has to be covered, and there is no problem, okay? So now the other thing is, we have now to understand what will be done with the private, with the X bond for liquidity and cash out. What needs to happen? First, what will be the nature of the bond? It will be a fixed rate X bond, means it's a fixed interest to make sure that there's a guaranteed payment. and it will be implemented using the Ethereum 3475 new standard that will help to provide certainty and stability, which will be tradable on the private trust exchange and any other exchanges. So that's number one. Number two, liquidity and stability. The price of one X bond will be on other different exchanges 282, but on the private trust exchange, it will be 1,000, making it a stable asset for traders who need liquidity or cash out in the event of an emergency. No more volatility, because the other important thing is with what is happening in the market is to make sure that we deal with the issue of the volatility, which has been a great deal. And most of these bond holders want to be very comfortable knowing that if they pick the fixed rate X bond, they know that they have a guaranteed payment for the time frame that they're going to hold it. Could be 3 months, 6 months, a year, depending on which kind of time frame. And they want to make sure that it's going to be successful. So it's going to provide them the best of both worlds. One, as they get a guaranteed payment. Two, they have the 40% every time people cash out that is distributed among all the bondholders. So that is critically important. Now because Weownomy platform is a company incorporated in the United States. Now, in the United States, all cryptocurrencies have what we are also included in what they call the money transmitter bonds for 125 million X-Wields. Now, this is very critical because a greater number of all these X-bond holders will be coming from the United States, a number of them in Europe, who are going to be participating in it. So the way the crypto money transmitter bonds work, it offers some kind of insurance. And what does that mean? So it ensures compliance, and what means we are partnering with the surety bond professionals, one of the most trusted in the surety bond, and that will enable us to be able to provide, because if you're moving huge funds, because 125 million X-Wield is not a joke, if you can try and calculate it. So it's a huge amount of funds which will be moved considerably in a period of time, because people who have selected to get the funds right away, others were selected to get it in different ways. And I do urge you to split it within 24 months so that you have more security and more control on what you're receiving. And that's something very powerful. Now, you know very well, the use of cryptocurrency has been associated with illegal activities such as money laundering, terrorism financing, tax evasion, and fraud. So what they do, if you have a surety bond as a US company, it enables you to securely move funds globally, okay? So what this does, it means that whatever funds that will come out from the private trust exchange or other associated different exchanges, it will be easier to be moved to all the different orders, because you are not talking about pocket money, you're talking of huge funds of money. And so the X-bond transmitter bonds, which is provided by the surety bond professionals in the United States, allows you, first of all, you prevent cryptocurrency for illegal purposes. So it will help us not to have that issue where people are saying you're moving a lot of money for purposes of money laundering, terrorism financing, tax evasion, and stuff. You need to be smart when you're dealing with a lot of money. A lot of you are talking of cash out, but you don't know what it means when you deal with millions and millions and billions of money, okay? So protections of investors and traders. So first of all, it also protects the bondholders. It also protects you. You will be able to receive the money well, okay? You will, and also the investors who are investing in the bond, they will also be protected. So protected from fraud and illegal use. And also, most importantly, trustworthy way to protect the bondholders and the X-Wield holders, the one who have. Now, this is the new way to safely transfer crypto funds. As you know very well, we also have an initiative to acquire an e-money platform that will entirely help the X-Wields. So 125 million X-Wields in X-bonds, and guaranteed protection from losses caused by crime or fraudulent acts, increasing regulatory compliance requirements worldwide. So it helps us, because once you have the surety bond for 125 million X-Wields, it helps that this money will be handled and people know what it's going to do. So that's very, very important. Okay. So, and so the other important thing is protect the X-Wields business with X-bond crypto money transmitter bonds. Okay. So how does the transmitter bond work? So that's very, very important. So they is the X-bond, but again, the crypto money transmitter bond is a surety bond, which means that it guarantees that the company will comply with the laws and regulations of all states in the United States which we operate, okay? Because remember, Weownomy is a United States company. So the X-bond, being a blockchain-based, it's turned into a blockchain-based surety bond for $4 trillion cryptocurrency industry that can be purchased by anyone with a credit card or bank account in seconds. So the first of its kind X-bond that will give investors and traders peace of mind as they transact in this new digital frontier. So what does this mean? When you create a bond, a digital bond in line with cryptocurrency, you need to align with the laws of the US, the crypto money transmitter bond, that allows you to be able to move funds. And when you move those funds, it becomes much more easier when even you're moving to different numbers of people, which is quite important. So with increasing requirements of the surety bonds, the creation of the X-bond will protect investors and traders from unforeseen issues which may arise during trading or investing on the blockchain platform. So that's very important. It provides that protection. So it will actually open a way for as many different bond holders to participate in the X-bond, because they have the surety bond as part of their faith to get it. And it will protect you, because with the surety bond, it means that increasingly it will also enable you to cash out successfully. So increasingly, people who invest and trade in cryptocurrency are being required to obtain a surety bond in the United States. And remember, Weownomy platform is a United States company. And so we are following that law to enable and make sure that when you build something, we are looking for a permanent solution. We don't want anything that will bring problems. Now, you will have peace of mind from holding an X-bond surety bond, trade X-Wields without worry about being held liable for damages incurred by others. And it's a new and innovative cryptocurrency surety bond. So a bond, in addition with a surety bond, which now makes it easier for other different investors, institutional investors, and other different players to take our X-bond very seriously. And that is very critically important to make sure. Yes, I have taken my time to show you at the private trust exchange. You've also been able to see the bond exchange, and I've just explained to you how the whole process is going to operate. Now, this is how money is made with discipline. Anyone who promises you money without showing you the process clearly and the process that has compliant steps, then you are not going to get the money. But we are showing you step by step, okay? So that you clearly understand what is required to execute your 500 X-Wields or whatever amount you want, and what is required for the private trust exchange to quickly be able to bring the other institutional investors, billion-dollar investors on board by having a surety bond together with the X bond, and that makes everything successful. Why? Because the amounts of what will be required to execute for over 250,000 people is a lot of money. But the good thing, the bonds are over, the bond market is growing over $900 trillion. So the issue of how to get the money is not the problem, but the issue of making sure the compliance in terms of building and making sure. So the good thing in US, there's what they call the crypto transmitter money bonds, which is critical, and I've just explained to you, and that is going to be combined with our X bond, and that will enable the private trust exchange or even any other exchange, La Token or anyone, so that they don't have issues, because America is a powerful country and Weownomy is a United States company. So it has to follow those important steps. And very good enough, we have already formed a bond surety company that is ready to work with us and move forward. And that's so powerful. So we just need to give them a total amount that we want to be factored in, so that when you are doing any, you're sharing it with as many other people in partnership with our hedge fund partner, it becomes easier, because you know that when you're going to get the money, the traders are safe. When you're going to get the money, the investors are also safe. The traders are the X-Wield holders and the investors who are putting in the money. And that process will enable the growth of X-Wield, because we're looking for a permanent solution, okay? A permanent solution to make sure that what you build can consistently make sure that we move so powerful, okay? So that's very powerful. Now, with that mention, I've just explained to you, that's very, very critical. And it's very important right now with what is happening in the cryptocurrency market. No investor is going to participate with you without protection. You need the protection, and the investors who are also participating in the X bond need the protection, especially with the cryptocurrency crash. And so the surety bond together with the X bond provide that critical protection to make sure you win, they win, we all win, and X-Wield expands globally, okay? So that is very critically important to follow and to understand. Now, with that mentioned, the whole process that again happens at the private trust exchange, they sell big bonds, I mean, in millions. So for example, if they have $101 million out of X bond, and then they have sellers who want to sell their bonds. If the bond is going to mature in 6 months, but they want to sell it earlier, they will be able to come and sell it. They will be able to have buyers who are buying it at 98, and then there's a difference of $30 million US, which is injected in the buyback program of X-Wield, and that is part of the matching program. So they want to see the total amount. Now that we have the total amount and we have the surety bond in place, which is matched with the X bond, and then that is what they use to quickly mobilize and get the right institutional investors who know they are protected from the wild go, okay? So that is critical. Knowledge is power, and it's critical that we understand what is happening, okay? So the other thing is, this comes at the time when the whole market is nosediving. It comes at a time when we have all the tools. We have the bond, and the bond is now going to be actualized with the surety bond. And once we have the surety bond, it quickly allows the critical step of the private trust exchange to be able to get any of the major investors in play to make sure that everything is actualized. So that's very, very important, because you as the trader, you need confidence that you cash out. The investor needs confidence that when I put my money, it's going to be guaranteed. And that's something very important. Without the protection of the X-bond investors, there is no need for them to participate in a huge venture which has no protection. Protection is critical. And once we have that in place, and we already have a partner who's putting that in place, then we will now be able to deal with as many numbers of orders of X-Wields, not only of you, but of many other different players who will come to, okay? So this is critically important as we build. So in every business, the whole process. So today, we are focusing on the importance of how the execution of the X-bond is done, okay? And it's going to be done in a way it protects you, it protects the X-bond holders, it protects the company, and make sure the invasion of X-Wield will last for many years. And we are all going to look behind and say it was worth it. So that is something very, very important, okay? So with that mentioned, now you understand what are X-bonds. X-bonds are designed to keep the price of X-Wield tokens stable and allow you and the X-bond holders to profit as they increase in value. So this is done by buying back the X-Wield tokens at a predetermined price, which increases quarterly 30%. And then buying X-bond allows holders to sell on the open market when X-Wield prices go up, or repurchase it when prices go down. So you earn 40% on any trade made through your X-bond, as well as a share of fees generated from all other bonds created through the private trust exchange to fund X-Wields, okay? So that is the critical part that you need to understand, and it's important that we have gone through it. Now that we understand how the private trust is going to attract many institutional investors. Institutional investors go through something that they have protection, and we are glad we will get that protection. You also want to cash out. So it's going to protect you. It's also going to protect the X-bond holders. So that way, when we match you as the trader with the investors, it becomes easy, because there is a surety bond required by every US company to have. And in US, we have quicker ways of making sure we get the money, in addition, even in Europe. And it makes even the bond to be very attractive globally, okay? So that is something which is very, very, very important, okay? So the X-bond sellers, when the 282 value increases to $30 value quarterly, that's what they benefit. And together with the buyers, they target also the quarterly 30 increase in QM. So what it means, in addition to the protection, they also will be able to get the 40% from every sale. They'll also be able to get the 30% value increase on the price every quarter, okay? And all the arrangement is done between the private trust internal bond exchange, and it's something critically important. And the private trust exchange, they deal in billions of dollars. So it's critically the advice they give us, we follow it so that we can be able to have this successful. A permanent solution that makes sure you have also a permanent success with your wealth, being, your families, and everyone. So this is critical, what you are going to really see here as we go through. And so that's very, very important. as I've shown you, and we have a great deal to really see as we go ahead. So now, as you know, the global debt is over $215 trillion, and it's increasing. And with digitizing it or tokenizing it as we have done, it's very critical, because at the end of it all, we are going to have a sustainable solution that helps everyone going forward. So we have one on the DeFi, and now we have one off, which is going to be on the central executive exchanges. Okay, so it's very, very important that that is the same process that we're going to use, 300,000 X-Wields, which will be also set aside for the X-bond transaction. And the X-bond transaction, now, you know, if you're a good listener, will require having a surety bond together with the X-bond. The surety bond allows, and it's passed, and it's required legally in United States, because as you deal with a lot of money, it allows that when you move money in and out, the investors are protected. The people who are participating in the program are protected. So that's the most important thing. And that also will be very critical for the Tether program, using the same liquidity creation program of X-bond to be able to have the 90 million USDT, which will be used for the DeFi program. Okay, so that is critically important. Now, we have clearly explained all the important steps, which critically is around the X-bond liquidity creation. We have now a partner who's going to help us to do the decentralized X-bond, which is 125 million. Every X-bond will be $1,000, but the surety bond is required because it secures all of those people who participate in the X-bond, so that as you receive the money, you will not have issues, and the person who's putting in the money has the safety to understand that the program will be successful. Okay, so that is something very, very, very critical. Okay, so now we have a very important breakthrough, as I told you, and I did mention it in our Zoom, in our previous communication that I've been sending in the groups and the audios about Weownomy charters now completely in a very important partnership with the global social media super app. And we are forming an interconnection agreement for 10 million users. So that means we now have only 250,000 users, but we're going to expand to 10 million. Now, this is critically important because as we speak, after the signing of the interconnection agreement, all our community, they can now be able to download the very first app of a global social media app, which will then be followed with Weownomy chat, and they're going to be designed in the way that they're interconnected. And it's something very, very, very critical for you to really understand what it means. It's a privacy-owned, data-driven personal social networking, totally different from Twitter, totally different from all of these other major social medias, Facebook and the rest, whereby for the first time, the data privacy is an important right. Most of the people have not known that the information that they do provide, critical information, really is important and creates revenue. And what we want to help you to really make sure that you now will be able to also have your future revenue source. And these two apps will create what we call a data dividend. Data dividend means payment for users to be able to determine the true value of the data they're providing. So you'll be able to have an algorithm which will be fixed in the app, and it can be able to calculate and make a value more transparent by showing you daily your economic value with the minimum amount in US dollars for your photos, messages, videos, links, and very, very important, it is also going to allow you to be able to understand that you decide what personal data is shared, and we only share the information you choose for marketing purposes. So you can earn your rewards by sharing more about yourself, being paid in X-Wield. So X-Wield will be automatically linked with these two platforms for over 10 million viewers. And these 10 million viewers, I mean users globally, mostly in Asia, in Africa, and in other different parts of the world. And by the way, the data revenue alone is huge compared, like for Facebook alone. If I can show you, let me just try and show you what it means. Okay. All right. Just gonna show you something critically important so that you understand what it means. So I'm pulling up a report. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm pulling up a report. On this report, there was different samples that were done with quite a number of users who were picked up on Facebook, and they were given a random kind of participation, and they were told how much they can sell their data. They picked up female, they picked up both white and black, and then they gave them different ranges. And so what happens actually is that without really, showing you all this complex, I just wanted to take you to something very critical, which will be of use to you to understand a very critical part. So they were given questions, and they were said, what is the minimum amount of money in US dollars you would require to share all your Facebook data? So this includes your photos, posts, photos, messages, likes, and comments, okay? And they were also given revenue information that shows that Facebook is expected to earn over $400 per user over the next 3 years. So you can imagine that. And in that study, they said, if you answer that you share your Facebook data for a certain amount of money, do you want to change your answer? You're able to say yes or no. And they said to provide some additional context. Okay, so that's still the same thing. And so the whole process was done, and this has now also ended up into what there is another thing here that I want to show you, a regulation that has also come through in United States, which is called the Dashboard Act. And this one is strictly for user data that is being provided by all these different social media. So in short, it is another unique way of how we can be able to do a great deal for a great number of communities. And this is going to start very quickly, immediately after we sign the interconnection agreement with this major social media platform. And that way, we believe we can scale up to 100 million monthly users as fast as possible. And then it's going to be something critically important for the whole ecosystem of X-Wield, the whole ecosystem of Weownomy, and we have come very far. Step by step, we have finally come through. The reason why we spend a lot of time with Weowns, X-Wields, is because we wanted to make sure that we get a stable currency so that we can be able to power our ecosystem. And it has happened. Now we have our X-Wields on the DeFi. We also have our X-Wields on the central exchanges, starting with the private trust exchange. And what does that mean? It allows us now to have a huge network, now including another important data-driven revenue that comes through with the interconnection agreement, which is critically important. We're going to be able to download 2 social media apps, which will also include Weownomy chat. And again, we are going to spell out everything, show you, and we're going to have an algorithm which is an artificial intelligence, which will be included in the social media app, so that every time you are on your dashboard, you are able to see exactly what amount, the economic value of your data on the choices that you make when you are on the social media platform, but the 2 important social media platforms. So the new data dividend economy is going to provide financial freedom for each one of you. So you'll be able to be paid to use the 2 social media apps. You get rewarded for providing data, which is valuable to companies looking for insights. And also very important that you know now your posts, you know very well your comments, you know your likes, and everything is monetized. Okay, so that is critically important. And so we're going to launch a social media user data-driven revenue that allows you to have a daily economic value that is quickly reflected with an algorithm in your own, your own account profile that you're going to be having. Okay, so that's going to be something critically important. So we will allow people to see how much money they would need to get for their posts, photos, or messages, help them make decisions about what they want to do with their information. So that is critically important. And then the revenue share model benefit for all parties. So first of all, there will be revenue between the 2 social media apps, and there will be revenue between the 2 user communities. And as I've told you, we now are welcoming over 10 million users. So when we're doing the Zoom meetings, we'll now be having more than 10 million people listening to the Zoom meetings. And this is going to be something very powerful. So we have this greatly important breakthrough that we are moving, and it's something critically important for you. The data dividend, this is something that we started when we're starting the whole project, and now with the breakthrough, having our X-Wields coming through successfully, which is now a stable coin, and with what we have explained today, the X-Bond liquidity creation, and this now is going to actually add more visibility to what the whole ecosystem is. So we are not simply focusing on only one, but we're building an ecosystem which will now be linked together with our X-Wields, our Weowns, and to make sure that all our ecosystem is powerful. And now having the social media platform is going to do a great deal, okay? So that is very, very, very powerful as we make sure that we have a complete data sovereignty for users, an entire new way to pay social media users, okay? Now, so this is great, absolutely, as now what we're going to do, what people don't understand, that initially all of the different users that are on, just to have your email address is worth $10 $7 with Facebook. Now, what we're going to do is all over different, now that we know, we not only have the 250,000 members that will be part of the 500 X-Wields, which is 125 million, but in addition to that, in addition to the bond surety, now with our own social media platform, it's going to create another unique arrangement. And this social media platform is going to be launched very quickly and already comes with over 10 million users. So that provides a huge network, huge benefits for people who actually understand the whole opportunity that comes with having our own unique social media platform, our two ecosystems coming together. One, creating data dividend for users. Two, posting, photo, comments, everything will be priced. And then every user will have what we call a data dividend agreement, so that I am signing for this approach. Whatever happens on this platform, this is what I'll be earning and stuff like that. So everything will be easy. You just click on it and then you can sign automatically. So everything will be configured very powerful. So the first step in this process is creating a data dividend where you can decide how much you want to share your personal information on different platforms based on their terms and conditions. The second step is pricing out what it costs per post or photo from each platform. This includes factors such as how many followers you have and what type of account you have. Okay, so this is powerful. Anyone who is saying that he doesn't want a social media, this is the quickest way to bring all what we want to actualize it. And this is how God brings all the success that we wanted. And it now will it will give X-Wield a clear visibility, purpose. X-Wield will not now just be traded just on exchanges. X-Wield will now also be used as in different transactions on the social media platforms with your data dividend agreement that you're going to be able to sign. Okay, so that is critically important. So remember that the most important lesson of today is we have shown you the steps. Now that you have filled in the form, the second step is to allow the X-bond creation process. And that's what I have explained and what will happen. And then now from there, we now have the 250,000 members receiving their payouts. And in addition to that, to accelerate and make sure that we have a greater advantage, we have these two important apps launching together to allow a greater impact, because 10 million users is a huge number. With the data dividend agreement for each one of them, it's going to bring a greater effect. And as it expands, I'm telling you, you're going to see greater ways, because now we have multiple streams of income. But remember, the same X-Wield, which is on the private trust exchange, which will be on other different exchanges, now will also be used for transactions with its own e-money platform, licensed platform. So that is very powerful, because everyone who's going to be on this social media platform, these two social media platforms, will be linked with the X-Wield e-money licensed platform accounts, so that when you sign your data dividend agreement, all the revenue that you get there is linked directly into your own X-Wield e-money platform account. So that is very, very critical and very important for you. So this is a new kind of monetization. As I told you, that data is oil. That is very critically important, okay? So one, you're gonna set a price, day, month, year for your activities on both the social media platforms. You're gonna give consent of what you would like to sell, and the data dividend is gonna be for all users. So when you're posting, you'll have the option to specify what type of content is being shared, the location photos, and how it should be used by other people. For example, just friends or anyone who follows you. And then Weownomy Chat and the Global Social Media Super App are working together to create a new model of a user-owned data-driven revenue through the provision of a privacy services where users can decide how much they want to sell their data for in return for benefits from the company. And that is linked with X-Wield. So you'll be able to choose whether you want to share your posts on both sides or not, which will give you more flexibility with the personal sharing habits. Okay, so that is critically important. And so we have two apps with one agreement. So that means any app that you download will now interlink together. We have the data dividend. It will also have experience for users on both, and then a true social media currency. And the agreement will allow for these two apps to have access to each other's data and merge it into one system so that both parties can make more revenue off of the user-owned data than they would if they were working separately. So that's very important. We want to make sure that we can scale big quicker across the whole world, and the owner's right is transferred from the platform company to each individual user owner who has consented in writing that they own the personal information used as part of this service agreement, whereupon an asset is created upon receipt, which becomes property of the individual owner. Okay, so this is big for people who look for permanent solutions, for people who understand the vision that we have at this right time, for people who clearly understand that X-Wield wins the day in the crypto industry, and X-Wield will also be used for the transactions with 10 million, listen, 10 million users. That means we're going to just accelerate. So a bigger family is coming, and that is great news for what we have. And they are also going to be part of X-Wields. They're going to be part of what we have, and it's going to be a wonderful thing moving. Having an infrastructure like WhatsApp and you own it and it pays you is great news. Having your own X-Wields being accelerated in terms of people using it in transaction, microtransactions on these two apps is a great, great, great news. So the only thing that we are waiting to finalize the press release is to make sure that the agreement is signed and it goes live, and I will provide you the apps to download, and we go forward, and everything will interlink. It does not delay anything. It actually complements and makes things move quicker. That is what people should understand, that it's a very, very great move to help everything that we do with X-Wields and everything that we need to do with our ecosystem and the unity we need to move forward and understand that finally the journey of the social media platform is now being actualized. And if we have a unique social media platform which allows people to have a data dividend agreement, the very first time in your life that you're able to sign a data dividend agreement that allows you to be able to participate in any of the activities that you do on the platform with some monetary payments and linked with X-Wields, it is big news, and it's actually going to attract thousands of people to understand our ecosystem. It's going to make the whole arrangement with everyone around understanding our ecosystem of X-Wields and having our own X-Wields e-money license platform in ISOFMAN. All this is great news because thousands of people globally are going to come for this important two initiatives, the two apps, one agreement to make sure that we have the great importance when we do this. So this is very, very important. So earn money when using our chat, so you get paid for your social media time. Your posts are paid out according to how many impressions they receive. The higher your post's popularity, the more cash it will generate by impression. And all that is done by specific algorithms, which will be able to power all this and show you exactly. And so that's very, very, so it's finally here. It's social media, Weownomy chat, and the global social media app that you get to know after the signing of the interconnection agreements. And you can be able to earn more money in your spare time. And this is critically important. And then finally, it's critically, as we also sign the discipline agreement, we are officially going to launch the disciplinary committee. And in that disciplinary committee, we would like to have 8 discipline members to be approved by the board. What happens, you can send your motivational email to an email address that I'll share tomorrow in my communication. So if approved by the board, qualifying disciplinary committee members will be paid 100 X-Wield for their work. And so every member in every group that you're in, the new committee that will be announced to you, you can be able to reach out to them. And the whole importance is to make sure that the community is disciplined as we go forward, because you have already signed that important code of ethics. And in discipline members who have signed the X-Wield cryptocurrency agreement will receive a letter of the nature. So that means if you have signed the cryptocurrency agreement, and we're gonna let you know that yes, but if you're found by the discipline committee of 8 members and say that you have actually breached the ethical conduct, then you will be accordingly dealt with based on what has been agreed on, what you have signed and agreed upon. And I think that is going to really help us, because we really need to make this very clear. So everyone can participate. What you do, you just send a motivational email to explain to us why you would like to be part of this board members. And we will also want to follow up and have proof in any of your groups, because we know we are in most of those groups, so we can quickly get endorsement. So when you write to us, we will send back the names, and then people will be able to vote on them. So when people vote on them, then we know those are the, after people vote, then the board will definitely approve and allow you to go ahead. So we need a disciplined community. This company is going to make you successful. This company already has, in 1 year, achieved a historical milestone, 2 apps coming together, having our X-Wield a stable coin, and enabling many people. I mean, I was just talking to one of my friends today, and I said, most of the people who don't know which company can you be in within a year, and even you are able to cash out your wields, which are even worth 100 rand. Others have cashed out in good times more than 20,000, 40,000, 50,000. The company within 1 year has done tremendously well, has done more than the challenges that it has. And to be able to have a great fit, to have this mammoth opportunity of making sure that we bring a historical interconnection of a global social media, 2 of them with 10 million users. It is powerful, it is historic, and it is gonna move very big across the continent. So the family is growing big, and with 10 million users, it's gonna grow as big as possible to even 100 million users. So this is great, and step by step, and we're going to do so many things. Now with that again, we come to the conclusion. The conclusion is very simple summary. We have clearly made it very important to explain to you the process of the X-bond liquidity creation, why it's important to protect the people who are putting money into the X-bond, why it's also important to protect you, the owner of X-Wields, why it's also very important to build a permanent solution that is going to link the X-Wield with the social media platforms, why it's also important to have our own X-Wield linked with our own e-money license platform. All these are strategic, permanent solutions to help you and to help the people who will come even after you. And this is a historical milestone. You may not understand it, but the 10 million people who are coming understand. They know. That's why they're saying, we want to sign an interconnection agreement with you, because we want to make this a success. So grateful for all of you who have listened in, and make sure you understand that we have now come to a great success. One, when you signed it, that's why sometimes when I tell people read 9 times, they may not understand. So when you read, the agreement said clearly, you receive your X-Wield. We have decided that we're going to send them exactly to the private trust exchange. You will only receive a confirmation through an email of what you filled in the Google form. And then we can match that with the Expo. We have explained to you how the Expo liquidity creation is going to be done so that you don't be left hanging. You understand that there's going to be a surety bond, which is linked with the X bond that allows the private trust exchange to deal with the big guys who can come in because there is security protection when they invest in this asset. And it's very critical because the cryptocurrency market is currently down. So many investors need heightened protection when they put their money in such kind of situation. So thank you very much. I salute you, and continue to read, continue to watch the Zoom videos to understand. And remember, once the agreement is signed, it's quickly going to go ahead and have the apps up. And secondly, you're also going to start to receive your emails, which will be a quicker way so that you know, yes, I've confirmed I've got my email. For my X-Wield, that is fine. And then how many you're selling, that already will be confirmed, which will be matched in the letter. And then secondly, we are going to let you know that it's going to be matched. And then you know that it's matched because of these important steps. And once that is completed, you'll be able to get your cash out, and the investor also gets this guaranteed protection. So that is the most important thing that we need to make sure we make it clear. Thank you very much. Good night. Be blessed, be disciplined, be wise, and always understand the best of the future always is with that person who clearly appreciates every process that leads him to the success that is looking towards. Thank you very much, and be blessed.